Hi everyone, I'm Chung-Chi Chen from National Taiwan University. Today I will introduce NLP in FinTech applications based on our observation. This tutorial is prepared by Professor Huang, Professor Chen, and me. I hope this tutorial will inspire some of you. We have two papers related to today's tutorial. The first one is NLP in FinTech application, which provide an abstract for this tutorial. The second one is a research agenda for financial opinion mining, which proposes a blueprint of my research direction. If you are interested in these topics, please take a look and feel free to let me know if you have any questions or suggestions. It's my honor to share my opinions with you. Let me briefly introduce my background. I am now a PhD candidate in National Taiwan University NLP Lab, and also a lecturer of Department of Quantitative Finance at National Tsinghua University. I majored in Economic and Quantitative Finance before. From 2018, I started to organize FinNam ShareText in NTCIR and hold the FinNLP workshop in IJCAI, which focus on FinTech and NLP. I lead my lab members to win several times FinTech Competition Award from 2017. As you can see from this slide, my research interest is applying NLP technique in the finance and economic domain. For more information, please refer to my website. Here is the outline of today's tutorial. First of all, I will introduce what is FinTech and provide an overview of FinTech applications. In this part, I'll point out where we are and where we are going to be. After that, I will discuss the traditional directions of applying NLP methods in financial documents. Then, I'll separate several related work into KYC, KYP, and SYC categories and discuss the application scenarios. Some works do not use financial data. When mentioning this work, I'll point out the possible applications in the financial domain. Because some topics are not covered by the above category, I'll introduce them in the next session. Finally, the problem we face and the possible future research direction will be proposed. Let's start with what is FinTech. This is the statistic of the term FinTech in Google Trends. From 2015, people start to discuss FinTech and it reached a peak in 2019. The decrease in such FinTech does not mean that it becomes less important, but stands for the mature of this field. Thus, we think it's a good time to make a survey on what we have done in the past 5 years. So what is FinTech? Based on the definition of Financial Stability Board, FinTech is technology-enabled innovation in financial services. Here, if you change the financial services to education, you can get the definition of education technology. And if you change to legal affairs, it will become legal technologies. That is, with technology advance, all walks of life have begun to automate and optimize their working process. In the financial industry, there are 6 main services: payment, deposit and lending, market provisioning, capital raising, insurance, investment management. Here you can find the other phenomena. The fundamental services have not changed. The only thing changed is the way to provide the services. These phenomena lead to a result. Fintechs have changed how financial services are structured, provisioned, and consumed, but have not successfully established themselves as dominant players. That is, although the way to provide services change, the traditional financial institutions still benefit from a long-time license. They have lots of customers, and for customers, the switching costs are high. New innovations are often not sufficiently material to warrant the shift to a new provider. It also makes the traditional financial institution do not need to be the pilot in the fintech tendency. They can wait and see what kind of innovation will succeed, then take action later. We will talk about this in detail after we go through the works in the past 5 years. Following, we are going to discuss the technology-enabled innovation in financial services first. In this section, I will use some successful fintech companies as example to show the application in fintech tendency. Then I'll point out where we are and where we are going to be. This is the first taxonomy for innovation in financial services proposed in 2015 World Economic Forum. Let's start from payment function. The emerging payment rail and the cashless world are two major clusters in this function. The payment function is mainly related to automation. In my opinion, the payment function will get relatively few impact by AI and NLP. I would like to discuss the deposit and lending function with payment function, because both are related to banking. The same as payment, now most of people using mobile banking instead of going to branch. Besides, the alternative lending methods such as P2P lending provides more choice to customers. It also raises the demand on evaluating the credit and default risk of a person. Not only the traditional risk estimation forms are adopted, some companies leveraging machine learning methods to enhancing the result of risk estimation. The third one is insurance function. The wearable device and IoTs are highly related to the connected insurance cluster. Disaggregation of the mass person line market may also lead insurers shifting their focus to niche and commercial market, where traditional capability can make bigger difference to performers. The following three functions, including capital raising, investment management, and market provisioning, are more related to NLP. Crowdfunding is a new way to practice funding a project by raising small amount of money from a large number of people. It's a form of crowdsourcing and alternative finance. We'll provide some NLP application related to this topic later. Many fintech-related work in AI and NLP community pay their attention to investment management. In this tutorial, we will not focus on this topic because this is a well-known scenario and has been supported by several papers. Finally, the new market platform and new data analysis are also highly related to AI and NLP. We'll discuss many related cases on this function. Following, we'll provide some company and issues in fintech trend. First, banking sector is the most affected in fintech trend, since some services in traditional banking can be finished by the customer via their mobiles, especially the payment function. Also, deposit and lending may face more regulation. The new coming companies can leverage the experience of traditional banking and the AI model to overcome and provide more precise analysis. For reference, the transactions per second of N-Finance may be higher than Visa and MasterCard. That shows the opportunity in countries with high population such as China and India. However, in the countries already occupied by Visa and MasterCard, it may hard to change customers' behavior by just providing cashless function. The second issue is that the common people are the major target audience in fintech trend. From the listed companies, you can also find that Southeast Asia is the latest hotspot. Uber-like companies such as Grab and Gojek are examples. Besides, you can also find that most of new services are focusing on the common people instead of VIP class customers. Capital Rising is the other well-known application. Kickstarter and Indiegogo are famous in this field. The third thing is that in fintech trend, the aim of most companies is provide automatic services for the target audience. For example, Clover Health use AI technology to predict hospitalization risk, while most large-scale health insurance companies still focus on two types of customers, including corporate employers, who actually pay insurance premium, and medical service provider of insurance company. Different from traditional insurance company, Oscar start with focusing on the general customers. Many chatbot and wealth management fintech companies are springing up in this high-growth market. Also, some of them may use the method that traditional financial institutions used before. It still got much attention from retail investors. Here, you can find that automatically provide better services for common people is one of the major targets of most fintech companies. Let's provide a brief summarization of the category of fintech applications. The highlighted categories are more related to NLP than others. If we don't take chatbot into consideration, you will find that most of the data in payment, deposit, lending, and insurance category are structured data, and in the highlighted categories, there may exist more applications related to NLP. Following, I'll point out the direction of recent fintech trends, then start to discuss different NLP and fintech applications. Let's start from the history of banking. Originally, everyone need to go to bank to use financial services, which we call over-the-counter services. The development of the web and internet leads some services to become online available, which can be considered as the first changing of banking. Bank 3.0 is where we are now. With the mobile phone and wireless network, we can pay, transfer, and lending everywhere and use most financial services via our mobile. That also led to a moneyless world and the emergence of mobile wallets. Some may think that credit card can provide a similar function in payment category, while this topic be widely discussed in fintech community. Here are some examples. 80% of persons in Africa cannot access banking services or open an account, but 93% of them have mobile devices. So they jump directly to mobile payment and use their mobile phone to solve payment and remittance problem. In Brazil, where bank account opening is also inconvenient, the most valuable online bank in Latin America, Nubank, was born due to innovation. This echoes what we mentioned in the previous slide. The target audience of fintech company is common people, even edge customers that traditionally financial institutions are not paying their attention to. We are actually at Bank 3.5, the junction of 3.0 and 4.0. In the future, banking is an action that can be done everywhere, and the branches of banks may not need it. FinTech is technology-enabled innovation in financial services. Technology-enabled innovation is what we are doing now, and AI-enabled innovation is what we are going to be soon. Some services can be done without time restriction now. However, the geographical restriction still exists. Blockchain may be a way to release this restriction. Since it's not related to NLP, we'll not discuss it in depth in this tutorial. AI-enabled innovation is the focus today. Precision marketing and real-time wealth management suggestions are two major functions that many people make effort to. When mentioned AI, Silicon Valley may come into everybody's mind. Thus, let's talk about the relationship between Wall Street and Silicon Valley. First of all, let's think about the utility of banks. Originally, the utility of banks is to keep your money safe. In Bank 3.0 and 4.0, providing functions that fit the current situation is the additional task for banks. From this aspect, there are two new terms, embedded banking and emotional banking. The idea of embedded banking is allow business to have their own software to perform financial operations, weaving the bank's capability into the company's life. It enables the integration of banking and payment services into companies' apps and platforms. Other related terms are open API or open banking. It's easy to add financial function to other platforms, but it's difficult for financial platforms to integrate with other platforms. Following are some examples. Amazon Business Loan is a peer-to-peer lending transaction. You can post the amount you want to borrow on a peer-to-peer lending site. Facebook has a well-known plan, Libra, which is a new global payment system. And maybe you are the user of Apple Card, which is cooperate with Goldman Sachs. The decision to choose Goldman Sachs as the credit card issuing bank was unexpected because this investment bank has been dealing with companies and large customers in the past, and has rarely set foot in the customer market. This credit card has an impact on the business layout of both parties. From the above event, we can find that FinTech has changed the basis of competition in financial services, but it has not changed the overall competitive landscape. Cooperation may become a general method between Wall Street and Silicon Valley. In sum, financial equivalents may occasionally find themselves disrupted, but Silicon Valley is not disrupting the power of finance. A system for all about money is a good summarization of emotional banking. Before, customers go to bank because they need financial services. Now and in the future, banks provide financial services everywhere when customers may need. This function is highly related to NLP. Here are some examples. When you put PS5 to Amazon cart, the assistant may say that you may overdraft by $200 this month. The other case is that when you only walk 500 steps today, the assistant may say, keep your insurance premium low by walking more. Due to the spillover insurance policy. If we can go to Suzhou for attending AACL, when we stay in front of the traditional dessert shop, your assistant may say that you may take too many calories today. Avoid it and save $5 based on the linking to health app. The linking to the data from another wearable devices is also possible. There is still room to achieve this status. Next, I will introduce the role of NLP in these transitions. This part will be divided into several lines. You can also take it as a survey. I would like to start from the traditional topic of NLP and finance. Sentiment analysis is one of the long-time discussed topics in both NLP and finance community. Whether it's useful for stock movement prediction is also discussed in many studies. In this session, we focus on some findings in dictionary construction. This is a very famous work in financial sentiment analysis. Several recent works still use their dictionary for comparison. Their major finding is that 3/4 of the words identified as negative by Harvard Dictionary are words typically not considered negative in financial context. They provide 5-word lists with several labels to better reflect tone in the financial documents. Social media is also a common resource used by the researchers in this track. We propose NTUSD-Fin dictionary for social media data. With the labels of social media users, we score the word hashtag and emojis in the financial tweets. Point-wise mutual information is adopted for scoring. Comparing our dictionary with SentiWorldNet, which is a general sentiment dictionary, we find that several words reflect market sentiment in financial tweets are considered as neutral, even opposite in SentiWorldNet. There is one possible research direction for extending this dictionary, that is, capturing the trading strategy of investors. For example, buy call can be considered bullish and sell call is bearish. We also provide a comparison with a dictionary construct by 10K report. Intuitively, the words is very different in social media data and formal documents. The previous two works use human annotation and statistic method to construct a dictionary. This work proposes an automatic domain adapting method for constructing a sentiment dictionary. They use star return and volatility as the output of model, and statistics show that the dictionary construct by this automated method is better than Lauren and McDonald's dictionary. The reason why I list these three works is that, first, we can find that in financial domain, researchers focus on discussing the factor and phenomena. In NLP community, also there are a few similar works, but most of related work are discussing the automatic method and the detail of models. Second, this work also indicates that extending the findings in financial domain is promising in our community. Changing results or proposing an automatic method are included. The second traditional research direction in NLP and finance is index construction. Text mining is one of tracks in NLP conference. Keyword matching method is commonly used in financial domain. By counting some keywords, we can construct an index to reflect or predict the economic event. Economic policy uncertainty is one of famous examples. By counting the keywords in newspaper, they find that the constructed index is correlated to some big events. Several following up works are also find a similar result in several countries. For more detail, you can refer to their site. I'm one of the presenters of Taiwan's EPU index. We discussed the relation between the EPU index of different countries. It can be observed from this figure. The United States, Japan, South Korea, Europe, and Hong Kong are highly correlated and seem to form a network. In other words, the economic policy uncertainty of these countries or regions are highly correlated, and their mutual influence is also larger. But looking at the EPU index of Taiwan and China, the correlation with the above-mentioned country is weak. That may be a case of being marginalized. The automatically indicator construction method is proposed in this paper. With the technique of event extraction and name entity recognition, the indicator can filter out some non-relevant articles and further improve the performance of evaluation. Here we can find that the cooperation between the finding of financial and NLP community can not only provide automatic methods for real-world application, but also provide methods with better performance. The above-mentioned works are traditional research of applying NLP to financial domain. Following, we'll discuss the recent work of NLP in fintech applications. In this session, we separate the financial services and operation process into three parts, including know your customer, know your product, and satisfy your customer. Because financial industry is highly regulated, financial institutions are asked to evaluate their customer, including legal persons and natural persons, from different aspects, such as identification and credit evaluation. Traditionally, KYP is a basic requirement for the salesperson in financial institution. They must understand the attribute of the financial instruments they plan to sell to their customers. In this session, we broaden the concept of KYP to update the features of the product, such as the prospect and the risk. Satisfy your customer become a new focus of the financial institutions. In the fintech revolution, people pay close attention to leveraging technology to satisfy those customers who are not in the VIP class. Let's start from KYC. First, regulation technology is highly related to KYC because several processes in KYC aim at checking the background of the customer. Second, I would like to point out one of my recent focus with all of you. The research of corporate social responsibility is still in an early stage. I think that adding CSR into consideration could provide the information from different aspects and improve the performance of several tasks. Some work in financial domain already support this claim. You can refer to this corpus as a start point. In this section, we start from the KYC of corporate customer. Summarizing the past event of corporate customer is the first thing that the financial institution should do when facing a new corporate customer. Since there may exist lots of documents. Automatically deal with this document is essential. Event extraction is one of the important tasks. The basic idea is that we can transfer an unstructured document into structured data. We can use entity mark table for further tasks. In this paper, transformer-based method is proposed for the task. They label 5 kinds of events, and here are their experimental results. Here, we can find that when there is some kinds of financial document, there is no need for a large annotated dataset. The reason is that some financial documents are writing under the similar format and writing style. Sometimes they may have a template to write the document for the same event. That makes it become relatively easy for dealing with than other kinds of documents. After extract the events, summarization is one of the processes that the staff in the financial institution need to do. This work illustrates and proposes a model for automatically solve this task. The result point out the current direction we should focus on in this track. Even models perform well in extraction and classification tasks, the summarization is still challenging. Besides, you can also find that in the FinTech application, we focus on the technology-enabled innovation. Some of this kind of innovation is not included in most of research in financial domain. After understanding the path of corporate customers, focusing the event that may happen in the future is also an important task when facing customers, because some events may relate to loan repayment capacity. These events are need to be taken into account before lending. They illustrate the application scenario. As you can see in this figure, some events will happen sequentially. Although the latter event may not be predictable, this kind of prediction is still helpful for understanding the possible operation direction of a company. In this paper, they propose sequence-to-sequence model to focus firm material event sequence, which is based on the historical event sequence of the firm. From their experimental results, we can find that the proposed test is still challenging for current neural network models. Instead of predicting the event directly, we can identify the predictive causal factors. This will propose an example. In this paper, they propose a predictive causal graph with Lasso Granger method to identify the predictive causal factor from news stream. If you are interested in causal inference, Granger method may be a good starting point for you. However, whether identifying predictive causal factor is helpful for future event detection or future event prediction is still an open question. It's one of the interesting applications in KYC. This is one of our work in FinCo-social tests in this year's coding workshop. We improved causality detection by using Viterbi decoder and got the first place in this shared text. If you are interested in this direction, please refer to our paper. Here, I would like to point out one thing. Corporate social responsibility could be considered in this research direction. For example, when investing in the tobacco industry, should we only focus on the stock return, or we should consider the negative outcome may happen in the future? After understanding and analyzing the information of single customer, here we change the topic to the relation between companies. One of the methods is that we can link the customer by transaction record. NER still is a necessary step, and this time there are two customers' information. How to separate this information and construct a relation graph become a problem. As we mentioned in previous slides, in some cases current model perform well. This test is one of the tests that current model got good performance. The reason may be that many transactions may have similar format, or there are some templates for writing transactions. This is the other work using textual data to capture the relation between industry. In this work, they shows that the interaction between different industries can be identified by using the contact histories. Here, I would like to point out the other application scenario of this work. Based on the figure in the right-hand side, if a company in retail industry are linked to real estate industry, that may be an anomaly. This kind of information can be applied to abnormal event detection, or it may provide some hint for investment. In addition to the private document inside the banks, some open textual data can also be used for relation linking tasks. News is one of the popular sources. In this work, they propose a method to use the subnode as features to represent a company information. This could be considered as the extension of the relation identification. For example, the implicit relationship could be linked by this method. I think the subnode model proposed in this work is interesting, and it could have many extended applications, not only in financial domain. The main idea is that using the extracted feature to represent a document. They show the usefulness of the proposed method in stock movement prediction and news recommendation tasks. Not only the texts are important in financial domain, the numerals are also occupy lots of space in financial document. For example, whether the estimation of the next year EPS is exaggerate is an issue that analysts need to think about. In other words, understanding the numeral in financial document is an important task. We propose a very first exploration on this research direction. Here is an example. We all know that market will reflect to the latest news soonly, maybe less than 1 second. What if there is a typo or some nonsense information in the news? In this example, all words are the same and only the numerals are different. We find that models can detect the abnormal numerals but perform worse in the sentence with smaller modification. This will point out an important issue in false information detection, which may be missed by the previous works. As we mentioned in the beginning of KYC session, legal issue is also important for evaluating corporate customers. Therefore, although there is no financial factor in this paper, I still list it as one of the related work. This paper proposed a best performing model for the competition in 2019. In this competition, they aim at predicting possible lawsuits of a given company. As we mentioned in the previous slide, predicting the possible event of corporate customer is one of the challenging tasks for financial institutions. Lawsuits are one of the events that may have a large influence on a company. Thus, this is also an important task for evaluating the risk of lawsuit. This paper could be considered as an extended work. They find that we are able to predict the outcome of the lawsuit by using sentiment analysis alone, on management, discussion, and analysis document. The recall achieved over 82% when using the random forest classifier. Sales is one of the aspects to evaluate the operation of a company. For customer-oriented products such as mobile phone, the opinion on the social media platform could be a cue for sales prediction. In this scenario, sales can be changed to any important terms in the financial statement. Note that when lending to a company, we will not only consider the current financial statement, but need to take the future cash flow into account. This is the experimental resource. When predicting the terms in the financial statement, such as sales or EPS, the previous data are very important and must take into account, especially the data of the same quarter last year and the data of the previous quarter. Instead of using the sales or earning as a proxy for the risk, taking the operational risk as the output of models directly is also a possible research direction. This paper proposed a risk type of operational risk and proposed a model for dealing with this test. You can find that this kind of setting cannot provide the degree of the risk, and is more like the event prediction setting. Therefore, I think that there still have room to extend this setting into a more fragrant text setting. Here is the proposed model in this paper, which is a text classification framework with a multi-head attention mechanism and semi-VAE. This framework aims to address lacking label data issue and the problem of need for transparency in predicting outcome. We already go through the applications of KYC for corporate customers. Understanding the past and predicting the future are two major tasks in this session. We can also find that originally these tasks are done by the staff in the financial institution. We are now trying to make this process become automatically. Here we are going to the personal customers part. Traditionally, financial institutions use the questions in the application form to evaluate the credit of personal customers. The financial institutions can also share the data in the Joint Credit Investigation Center. Some may use questionnaire survey to check the risk tolerance of the customers. The authorization of access customers' social media data may be a direction to understand our customer in depth. This data can be used as extra feature for traditional analysis methods. We can also use social media data features for improving the performance of neural network models. Open banking is not just about data exchange between banks. In fact, the interoperability of social media accounts and the interoperability of various apps are also meaningful. This is one of interesting related work that using writing style to predict the social stratification of writer. This paper used the price range as the proxy to annotate the social stratification of review writers, and further discussed the writing style of the writers in different classes. Here are the findings. The reason why I mention this work is that it provides a possible direction of using customers' social media data. Some may challenge the ethical issue of using social media data. I don't think the financial institution can use the data without authorization from the customers. I think that provide a motivation to share the data and make win-win results are important for this application scenario. Spillover insurance policy is an example to ask customers to share their data. Insurers reduce the insurance premium rate by actively reduce their own risk or improving customers' health conditions. For example, ask their customer to maintain good driving behavior. All things have their pros and cons. Here we just point out one of possible research direction and application scenarios. As the study of corporate customers, we can also understand personal customers by constructing their life log. Besides, constructing personal knowledge graph is also one of the possible directions. That is, all topics we introduce in the first part of KYC session can be used for personal customers. Although the event type may differ for personal customer, and the relationship may be contacted by different edges, the method and the findings can be transferred to personal customers. Here are some extended references. This work can be a good starting point for understanding the research in this track. Early detection is the same as the forecasting task in KYC of corporate customers. No matter the target is the credit problem or disease, getting treatment earlier always leads to the positive results. Now we are going to know your product session. We broaden the concept of KYP to update the features of the product, such as the prospect and the risk. Most work use stock as an example, and some of them can extend to other financial instruments. First, I would like to introduce the earnings conference call to you because it's recently a focus of both the financial and NLP communities. Earnings conference calls are the periodic conference call companies hold with outside investors and analysts to discuss financial results and answer questions raised by analysts. The information released in the earnings call can be considered as first-hand information. Several reasons will adopt the transcription of earnings call as results and have many discussions. This work is one of example. They use both verbal and vocal cue to predict the volatility of the stock price. Two contextual by LSTM models are used for textual data and audio data. The concatenation is used to predict the volatility. Here are the experimental results and the follow-up works in World Web 2019 and SIG-FinTech 2020. The volatility of the price always reflects the risk of financial instrument. How to evaluate the risk of the product and sell the proper product to the right customer is an important issue of financial institutions. This work is the extended work, which adds the QA part in the earnings call to predict the financial risk. This is their model. They pay their attention to the multi-turn QA section. This work proposes the other application scenario of using earnings calls. They model financial analysis decision-making via the programmatic and semantic features. I think this work is interesting and proposes a good research direction. Unfortunately, the dataset is not publicly available. This is one of the problems faced in financial research. Here are the research questions in this paper. Because analysts always list the price target in their report, changing the price target means the view toward a certain company is changed. This work also discusses the usefulness of the QA part in conference call. In this work, they correlate programmatic feature of analysis question with the pre-call judgment of the questioner and explore the influence of market semantic, and programming features of earning calls on analysis subsequent decision. They show that the bullish analyses are more likely to ask slightly more positive and concrete questions, talk less about the past, and be called on early in the call. They also demonstrate earning calls are moderately predictive of change in analysis forecasting. Not only the formal document can be used to predict the return or volatility of the financial instruments, social media data can also be used for the same purpose. In this work, we extract the numeral in financial tweet and classify the numeral into several categories. Some categories can reflect the viewpoint of social media users. Here is the flowchart of the proposed demonstration. We first collect daily tweet data, then separate the numeral into different classes. We further use the extracted numeral to construct indicator for compare with the market price information. As we mentioned in the previous slide, every professional analyst write down the price target in the front of their report. In this work, we extract the price target of the crowd and compare it with the price target of professional analysts. We find that the investors on the social media platform are more progressive. Besides, under the same trading strategy, follow the price target of the crowd can achieve similar results of professional analysis. We also test the informativeness of other proposed indicators. For more details, please refer to our work related to numeral understanding. In my opinion, satisfy your customer is the most important issue in fintech trend. Here, we focus on AI-enabled innovation. First, wealth management suggestion is an intuitive function of financial institutions. This is one of the current NLP work pay their attention to portfolio optimization instead of only focusing on the volatility or price movement prediction. This paper has proposed the idea of a stock embedding, which formulated to acquire such factor from stock price history and news articles by using a neural network framework. They experiment on two news datasets and show that the performance of the proposed model is better than other existing models. If you still remember the discussion in KYC, the company's representation in those work can also be adapted for comparison. Although the title of this work may not relate it to finance, I want to introduce the scenario of this work and further extend it to financial applications. Story ending prediction is a task that needs to select an appropriate ending for the given story, which requires the machine to understand the story and sometimes need common sense knowledge. Let's think about what professional analysts do. Different from social media users who only write down a short sentence and give a bullish or bearish tag to a certain stock, professional analysts summarize the fact and the news in their report, and further give a claim for the possible result of this fact. In my opinion, it's very similar to the story ending prediction. It can also be considered as the extension of the forecasting possible event, which is mentioned in the KYC session. In sum, how to generate a useful claim is still an open problem. Should we only predict the bullish or bearish tag for our customer, or we should generate the claim to explain the possible outcome to our customers? Here is one of our work related to the claim of professional analysis. However, due to the limitation of the data, we prop the claim detection task instead of the claim generation task. Based on our observation, over 58% of sentences in the analysis report contain at least one numeral. It shows the importance of the numeral information in the financial narrative. We will provide the statistics of the proposed dataset and that of other datasets for comparison later on. Additionally, we also find that when making a claim, the professional analysts will not only provide their opinion on the direction such as increase or decrease, they always make a claim with an estimation. Here is an example. The professional analyst will say, "We estimate that the sales growth rate may exceed 40%. Instead of saying that, we estimate that the sale may grow." Besides, we also find that this kind of fine-grained claims are quite important for capturing the opinion from investors. For example, in these two sentences, all words are the same, and only the numeral is different. In this case, most of machine learning models will predict the same market sentiment degree for these two sentences. However, although both sentences think that the growth rate will increase, it's definitely different between growth 5% and growth 40%. This case shows the importance of the proposed text and the numeral information in the financial narrative. Based on the above rationale, we propose an expert-annotated dataset named non-claim. There are about 5,000 instances in this dataset. 24% numerals are annotated as in-claim numeral, and 76% of numerals are out-of-claim numerals. Here is the example for the annotation. The first sentence provides the subjective opinion of the investor, which is considered as the investor's personal claim. The second sentence describes an objective fact, therefore is considered as an out-of-claim case. Furthermore, we calculate the point-wise mutual information of the words near to different labels, and find that the words representing subjective opinion are always near to in-claim numerals, and the words describe the cause or effect or the comparisons are always near to out-of-claim numerals. The rationale support the claim is also important for decision making. This will propose a pilot dataset to classify the rationale of investors. This dataset can also be used on investors' or customers' education platform. The quality of the rationale may influence the usefulness of the claim. For example, should we take the claim with poor rationale into account when making a trading decision? This work uses 4 labels to measure the thoughtfulness of the rationales. In my opinion, some ideas in argument mining could be adopted in this research direction. If you are interested in argument mining in finance, please refer to our research agenda. We share some ideas in this paper. This will propose the other direction for measuring the focus scale of text. They compare several metrics of accuracy and inaccuracy analysis report and propose the experiment on classifying the accurate and inaccurate reports. As we mentioned, we need to provide useful information to customers or select useful information for our customers. The above studies are all related to this purpose. Let's discuss the scenario in precision marketing. This is one of interesting work recently. In this paper, they propose a personalized and interpretable substitute recommendation system. Here is the application scenario in this work. When users attempt to buy iPhone 11, this recommendation system may recommend Galaxy S10 and provide a reason for this recommendation. Personally, I think that this is a good direction when recommending a product to the customer. Currently, most of recommendation systems do not provide this kind of explanation. Some may provide a cross-ground reason, such as because you are a male in the range of 20 to 30. The same method can be used in financial domain with some tailor-made features or a bit of modification to fit the product of financial institutions. Personalized recommendation system is also important in social media platforms. There are many financial social media platforms. In this work, we propose a multi-text framework to recommend the financial tweets that the social media user may be interested. Here is the motivation of this work. When users mention Apple in their tweet, it's intuitively to recommend Apple-related tweet to the same user. However, this kind of recommendation misses an important information embedded in the tweet. That is, this user may be interested in the stock that make a new 52-week low instead of certain stock. Therefore, in this work, we encode target users' tweet and the tweet of other social media users and the price data of stock into model, and further propose a multi-text framework to predict the next hashtag the same user may mention. The same scenario could be used in customer services. When the customer asks some question, we can infer the schedule of this customer and further provide a personal recommendation. For example, when a customer asks the overseas reward point of his credit card, we can recommend a travel insurance to this customer. This work is based on the data in Taobao app. Due to the development of mobile banking, many financial institutions has their own app now. The same scenario can be adopted in financial apps. Additionally, both online shopping websites and financial industry have lots of products. Therefore, I think that the same method can be transferred to financial industry in the future. This paper proposes a new framework to effectively capture the structural relationship of target user item pairs on the knowledge graph. Specifically, in order to associate a given target item and user behavior on the knowledge graph, this paper proposes Graph Connect and Graph Perm method to construct an adaptive target behavior relationship graph. Of course, there are recommendation systems tailor-made for financial domain. This is one example published in this year's SIG-IR. Internet insurance products are apparently different from traditional e-commerce goods for their complexity, low purchasing frequency. So co-stock problem is even worse. In traditional e-commerce field, several cross-domain recommendation methods have been studied to infer preference of co-stock users based on their preference in other domains. However, this method could not be applied into insurance domain directly due to product complexity. In this paper, they propose a deep cross-domain insurance recommendation system for co-stock users. They first learn more effective user and item latent feature in both domains. In target domain, given the complexity of insurance product, they design a meta path based method over insurance product knowledge graph. In source domain, they employ GRU to model users' dynamic interests. Then learning a feature mapping function by multi-layer perception. Some applications may not relate to the above categories. In this session, we will go through other application scenarios. Crowdfunding is considered as one of fintech applications. Actually, there are many unstructured data in crowdfunding websites, including video, text, and image. Modeling what makes a request persuasive is crucial to the study of propaganda, behavior economics, and advertising. Building on theory of persuasion, this will propose a neural network to quantify persuasiveness and identify the persuasive. This will propose a semi-supervised hierarchical neural network model, which supervised by the number of people persuaded to take action, and partially supervised at the sentence level with human label rhetorical strategy. Here is the details of this work. A borrower posts a message to request loan for Women League Group. As highlighted in the figure, she made use of several persuasion strategies to render her request more persuasive. They define the persuasiveness score of a request message as the number of team members who read the message and make loan to the mentioned borrower. Then regardless overall persuasiveness of message as high-level supervised for training the model to determine which the persuasion strategy is used in each sentence inside each message. These are some references for crowdfunding. Predicting the outcome such as whether the post project will succeed is the other important task. There are many domain-specific language models, such as BioBird, MedicalBird. In this year IJCAI, we got a FinBird pre-trained model for financial domain. In this work, both documents in the general domain and financial domain are used for training a language model. Here is the approach of training this language model. Basically, the idea is similar to BERT-based language model. The result shows that using FinBERT performs better than using other language models in several tasks. I think that we can try this language model in the future if the document we use is in financial domain. Providing better service to customers is one of the important functions in fintech development. However, as we mentioned in KYC, improving the working efficiency of employees is also an important challenge in financial institutions. In this session, we'll introduce some related work. Compliance checking is an example. Governments around the world have tightened regulatory controls and placed substantially significant penalty on non-compliance in recent years. Banks have to spend billions on regulatory compliance and litigation each year. Banks need solutions to quick access, manage, and maintain their business compliance and reduce the non-compliance risk. Regulatory compliance against unstructured legal documents is still a big challenge for banks, since it's a high-cost, low-efficient, and inconsistent process due to the manual review required. This will propose a framework to address compliance tracking issues automatically. This is the framework. I would like to point out a possible research direction. When the regulation changes, or there is a new law for financial institutions, how to let model understand the new regulation and check whether the institution already followed the regulation or not is still a challenging task for neural network models. I think that this may be a good direction for future work. It's not only important in financial domain, but also important in other domains for all companies. Anti-money laundering is one of the recent focus of governments. Traditionally, we check the customer's data manually with an information system, which provides the possible lawsuit and news of the target customer. Sometimes, manually checking is still an essential step. As accelerating the annotation process when labeled data, we can try to speed up the process of manually checking by improving the system. This is the proposed system in this work. They provide a better user interface for their employees. Most companies have human resource department. Every traditional financial institution must have one. We can also try to deal with some routine work automatically. In some cases, the rule-based method is enough, but learning-based methods often provide better performance. In this paper, they propose a model to suggest screening questions based on the job posting. This slide illustrates their application scenario and model. The test setting is a multi-step classification test. With the proposed model, the performance achieved about 80 to 90%. In my opinion, this result is good enough to be used in real-world applications. When mention automatically surface, chatbot may come into your mind. Although the step-by-step automatic surface already been used in several systems, the product currently used is not better than providing a service by human directly. The reason why this kind of systems being adopted is that the cost is lower than hire a person, and customers do not need to wait online for several minutes. Let's see what we are now in providing automatic service in a chatbot cases. We'll follow the step in telephone customer services to introduce the related works. First, when a customer calls, we need to confirm identity. This will prompt identity issue by extending the personal knowledge graph of the customer and try to ask a good question for detecting identity fraud. This is the motivation of this work. If we only ask the question based on the personal knowledge graph of our customer, that may not enough for detecting the fraud because the fake guy may also have the same information. In this paper, they try to extend the personal knowledge graph and ask a question out of the original knowledge graph. For example, a student at Nanjing University must know the nearest subway station, but the fake guy may not know this information. They collect a dataset for simulating this scenario and propose a model to learn from this dataset. This is an interesting work. If you are interested in this research direction, I think you must take a look. Although fully automatic may still not achievable, we can use a human-machine cooperation method to improve the services. How to efficiently respond to various customers' questions is an important issue. In this scenario, customers' questions always involve many aspects of the products, so there are usually multiple customer services agents to respond respectively. In order to improve efficiency, this work proposes a human-machine cooperation solution where relevant agents and customers are invited into the same group, and the system can provide a series of intelligent functions, including question notification, question recommendation, and knowledge extraction. The authors mentioned that the system has supported thousands of enterprises in real world. In my experience, this kind of system become more and more in the financial industry, and is the current method that we are using AI in the customer services. There are various scenarios. It's hard to propose a general chatbot for all kinds of cases. A system designed for specific scenario is needed and may provide a method with good performance. This is an interesting example that designed for debt collection. Here is an example of flow-based robot. The policy and script database contain multiple policy and scripts. For example, as repayment time policy. Each policy contains several scripts that may differ in words but have the same meaning of the policy. For instance, can you repay it today? And sir, what time will you repay your loan? Although the proposed method is related to debt collection, I think the same idea can be used in different cases. In customer services, intent detection is an important task. Instead of discussing the general classification task, I would like to talk about unknown intent detection. If the customer's intent is known, we can use the chatbot like previous work to provide an automatic services. If the customer's intent is unknown, we may need to transfer to the services of real person. That's one of the application scenario of the zero-shot intent detection. In this work, they propose a semantic enhanced Gaussian mixture model coupled with a LOF outlier detector for unknown intent detection. They empirically verify the effectiveness of SIG for unknown intent detection on real dialogue dataset in English and Chinese. Here is the other related work for intent detection. Although these work are not used in financial data, it's still highly related to fintech application. Let's discuss federal learning, which is a hot topic recently. The basic idea of federal learning is that making data stay locally and only share the parameter to make sure the privacy of data owner. You can imagine that it's hard to share the clinical note in one hospital to the other hospital. It's the same in financial industry. Therefore, how to construct a global model without sharing data becomes an important issue. In this year's IJCAI, there is a new work discussing federal learning in financial application scenario. Although it's not related to NLP, I think it's still worth taking a look on it. The models are not harmful in this paper, but the design of training process is different from the most of supervised learning works. They locally train and test the model and return the parameter back to the global share model. In May 2018, the European Union passed the General Data Protection Regulation Bill. The bill clearly states that all personal related information is personal data. The use of data must have clear authorization and consent from the user. If the user are willing to share their data, we may not need to use federal learning method. However, we can imagine the hardness to ask our customer or a patient in the hospital to release their data. Thus, the direction of federal learning is necessary for our community. Making sure that the transaction or the login action is done correctly and is done by the right customer is an important step. For example, when you log into your Gmail account from a new IP, you will get a message asking you to check from your mobile. This is also important for financial institutions in the mobile banking era. In this paper, they developed a novel cross-module and intra-module attention network for the transaction text matching text. This is the proposed approach. They show the proposed framework alternatively pass information within and across transaction and text based on the proposed attention mechanism. They also design an explainer to interpret how the attention mechanism interact the original features. This paper used the behavior of an account to provide online payment fraud alert. The well-recognized characteristic is that online payment fraud are mostly caused by account compromise. This will design an ex-ante anti-fraud method that can work before unauthorized behavior occurs. The feasibility of the proposed solution is supported by the cooperation of characteristics and findings in online payment fraud scenarios. In financial documents, numerals occupy lots of space than in other domains documents. Therefore, we should not miss the numeral information or just change the numeral into the syntax. The in-depth understanding toward the numerals in financial narrative is needed. Some numeral-related work are already mentioned. Here I would like to share the other work in generation case. When generating a news headline, previous work focused on the brute score or rich score, but not evaluate on whether the numerals are correctly generated. In this paper, we focus on generating a correct numeral in the headline. Given a news article, which numeral in the article should be chosen, and should we copy it directly to the headline become a problem for an article writer. In this work, we propose a pre-training process to solve this problem. We find that with the proposed method, we can improve the accuracy of selecting the numeral into the headline. Tables are frequently used in financial documents, such as financial statements. Therefore, in order to understand the financial documents, tables are also a crucial part. There are some representation methods for tables. TA-BIRD is one of the recent examples. TA-BIRD is a pre-trained encoder for joint understanding of textual and tabular data. They show that semantic parsers using TA-BIRD as a general-purpose feature representation layer achieve strong results on two benchmarks. This is the other paper working on the same topic and also presented in this year's ACL. In this paper, they present an approach to question answering over tables without generating logical form, which train from weak supervision and predict the denotation by selecting table cells, and optionally applying a corresponding aggregation operator to such selection. Actually, Tapas is also using the idea of BIRD's architecture to encode tables as input. Initialized from an effective joint pre-train of text segments and tables, which crawl from Wikipedia and is trained end-to-end. In the future, we can adopt the experience of the above two works to financial documents. This is a demonstration related to financial tables. In this work, they extract operating segments from earning report in real time. Till now, We already introduced lots of fintech application scenarios with NLP and some without NLP technique. Finally, I want to point out some problems we are facing in doing research in this direction. The first challenge is the dataset. Many works that mentioned in the previous slide do not share the dataset, especially those using e-commerce data or the data collected from the operation in real-world business. That made every study in this track become a one-time case study and cannot be reproduced in the future. Also, cooperation between industry and academic is a way to share data. It still cannot make the dataset publicly available. Of course, we understand the reason why this work cannot share the dataset. However, maybe we can learn from the method in clinical domain, which released the identification datasets such as Mimic3 and Mimic4. The other method may be that we can use social media data for simulating the real-world data, because the social media data is publicly available. Second, there are few benchmark datasets for backtesting the performance on stock price prediction or risk prediction. I think that we need a benchmark dataset for comparison. The other method that could let the data publicly available for academic research is that return the data to its owner. In this way, researchers can collect data from the crowd by getting the authorization instead of get the data from financial institutions. In sum, in order to let the research topic can keep being studied, I think that we need to find a way to sharing the data. Here, I would like to share some research directions with you. In my opinion, I think that these directions are interesting. The highlighted tasks are what my team members are focusing on. The first task is cross-platform analysis. Make banking everywhere is the major goal of Bank 4.0. Using the open APIs of different apps may be a way to achieve this goal. That is, we need to do some cross-platform analysis to understand our customers. Second, time series is an important issue in financial domain. When dealing with financial data, it still is an important fact that we should consider. Thus, how to encode the structured and unstructured data with time information is still an open question. Third, recently explainable is a hot topic in our community. European Union proposed a AACL guideline for trustworthy AI, which asks institutions use the model with traceability and auditability. In many cases, we still don't know how to provide a good explanation for models output. As a highly regulated industry, financial institutions will definitely encounter this problem. Thus, it's also a worth try research direction. Since the market changes every day, a lifelong learning algorithm and automatic fact discovery is needed. Recently, there are more and more fintech-related research use multi-module data, such as text and audio or text and image, for different tasks. It's not only the trend in fintech, it's the trend in AI community. Finally, in order to fulfill the goal of emotional banking, the personalized assistant is needed. It can be separated into following advisors or servers. Let's make a conclusion for this tutorial. Because fintech is technology-enabled innovation, the quality of financial services will be improved with the development of AI. Fintech companies have changed how financial services are constructed, provisioned, and consumed, but have not successfully established themselves as dominant players. Also, fintech companies have failed to disrupt the competitive landscape. They have laid the foundation for future disruption. Here are some take-home messages for you. For the traditional financial institutions, the scenario-based financial services is an important direction for future operation. With the assistance of AI algorithms, you can provide better services and automate your operation process. However, you may not need a big team to doing every task by yourself. Acquisition and partnership are a good method in the fintech industry. For the audience from academic and fintech startups, I still think that the novel application scenario and new business models are most important. Of course, propose a tailor-made domain-specific model is also a good direction. In order to find the features and characteristics in financial documents, I suggest that developers read your data instead of using it directly. Finally, for the audience from financial domain, you can get the latest papers in NLP community from AACL Anthology. For the audience from NLP community, you can read the preprint in financial domain from SSRN. I would like to share some events with you, and you are very welcome to join us. First, we propose the first financial crime detection dataset, and it may be used in next year NTCR Finance Research Test. We have worked on this topic for a long time, and in the previous short test, we focused on financial social media data. Recently, we pay our attention to formal documents. Second, we are now preparing for a Springer brief book. You are very welcome to send your work related to financial opinion mining to me, or recommend some papers to me. I will try my best to discuss more related work in this paper. Third, FinNLP 2021 may in conjunction with SIG-FinTech 2021 or other conference next year. From 2019, we got many high-quality papers in our workshop, and during the conference, we also have many discussions on each work. The short tests related to financial opinion mining or other financial applications are also proposed in this workshop. So you can leave your email address to us for updating the news of these events via this QR code or the link. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to contact us if you have any questions.